Session, and thanks for participating both online and in person. My name is Seth Jones. I am the Director of the International Security Program at CSIS, and I have the distinct honor of briefly welcoming our keynote speaker, CQ Brown. General Brown is the 21st Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest ranking military officer in the U.S., the principal military advisor to the President, to the Secretary of Defense, and to the National Security Council. Prior to becoming chairman on October 1st of last year, General Brown served as the 22nd Chief of Staff of the U.S. Air Force. I have to say, 1 month after General Brown became the chairman, I was at the Canadian Embassy to celebrate U.S.-Canadian defense cooperation, and General Brown was asked with Wayne Eyre, the chief of the defense staff, to come up on stage. He was given, well, they were both given hockey sticks and jerseys, and there was a puck that was going to be dropped. They were doing a face-off, so I was a little bit worried. I mean, if this had been General Milley, as people know, he had been, he was a hockey player at Belmont Hill and then at Princeton, but sir, you did a great job. So at that point, I knew all was going to go well. Well, really grateful to have you, and I will hand off to our moderator here. That's Carrie Bingen. She's the director of the Aerospace Security Project at CSIS. She's also a senior fellow. Carrie was the Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security at the Pentagon, also spent time in the commercial sector at Hawkeye 360, and also spent time at, among other places, the House Armed Services Committee, where she was in many positions, including policy director. So, Carrie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Seth, and it's just such a privilege to have General Brown here today. I was fortunate to get to work with him and first meet you when I was working on the Hill, and you were the commander of the Flight Air Operations Center out in the Middle East, but then also very fortunate to work with him when I was in the Pentagon, and I very much valued the candid conversations that we had. So I very much appreciate everything that you've done, and congratulations again on your chairmanship. So I want to start really with your job description, which is in Title 10 of U.S. Code, and when I was supporting members of Congress in 2017, we updated the chairman's responsibilities in law as part of a broader Goldwater-Nichols reform. I want to cite our House report language that year, where the committee said, quote, "It believes that the chairman should remain focused on strategic direction, strategic planning, and contingency planning, for the chairman is the only senior military leader that independently and holistically looks across the military services and the combatant commands." So, end quote. I guess what I want to start then is your reflections now, the first 6 months on the job, your transition from service chief to chairman, and then your ability to stay at that strategic and holistic level.
Well, thanks, Gary. It's been a pleasure to work with you as well, and I'm really pleasure to be here. As you're talking about this, I was hoping I'd be like the guy that came out of central casting to fill in the role the way you described it.
Where I do space wars with Xenos.
The way
straight bugs.
That language is laid out, and the way that I think about my role as a chairman are very well aligned. And that part of that is based on my experience having worked in the Joint Force, and always thinking. I try to be more proactive rather than thinking strategically and thinking long. And so one of the things I've really tried to do as I've come in as a chairman and been in a job nearly 7 months now is, how do we look at everything that's going on in the world, particularly when you think about the 5 challenges in the National Defense Strategy, how all of them are active right now and some ways interconnected.
Off the wall.
I've got to be able to step back from this and be able to take a broader, bigger picture as I engage with the combatant commands, as I engage with the Joint Chiefs, and then how I provide advice to the Secretary and the President. And so I do focus on that, and I really focus on that aspect with the Joint Staff as well. And so what I really try to do is ask questions in a different way about how do we approach these broader challenges, and not just solve today's problem, but make sure that we are thinking about how some of these things are interconnected, and then how that impacts us into the future as well. And I've often talked about how we balance risk over time. you can pay me now or pay me later, but I've got to have a kind of a balanced approach of how I look at things to address today's challenges, at the same time making sure we have the capability and capacity to do what the nation needs in the future as well.
And I'll come back to risk, but I want to hit on what you just said, which we have there were five challenges identified in the National Defense Strategy. They all seem to be active at the same time right now. So we have this key theme emerging from this forum, which is simultaneity. And not just those five regions, but you now have two nuclear peers, technology diffusion, pandemics, many years now that you're starting the year under a continuing resolution. So as you look at the strategic environment and these trends, and I guess how precarious of a position are we in? How urgent is this situation that we're in?
Well, I've been wearing the uniform for 39 years, and I would say as a senior officer, this is probably the most dynamic, most challenging that I've seen.
Yeah, boss of fucking
but I'm also confident, though. I'm confident in the capabilities of our U.S. military. I'm also confident in the
and you take one guy, you had a couple of Sawyers, that's 5 Saw Bay, and I run that third shift alone, where you had crew,
and most of all, I'm confident in our joint force and our service members.
War.
And it's a combination of those that we can
one to
look at
three
these
guys,
very
so you
challenging
get 3X,
problems and be able to think about how we address them.
You're just
Now,
90 days.
I know everything won't go perfectly, but I do know we're focused on the
your brain
areas
will. You just to get it
addressed
to
as you
paper.
look at
So they
the
have
potential for
black body,
things
bright
happening
line
in a
follow.
simultaneous manner.
Well,
But
evolution 10
I
times
really believe,
here,
and I've talked about
and then
this
they'll
in
have
the
it.
past as I talked to
And because
various
they
staffs
didn't
I've
do
got a
that
chance
with
to work
me
with and
day
lead,
one,
is
when they put
we
me
can't
to
predict
that,
the future, but we can
I'll
shape
be
it.
paid for it for months.
And so
if
there's
not
things we
years.
can do to help,
Yeah,
buy
it's
down
the teacher,
some of those challenges.
Foreign time
Part of that is
curve,
being,
maybe that's
thinking
arbitrary
proactively.
because changing.
And the way I've often described it, it's
be
like
like-
a slow motion